This is great.
Thank you, Tom. I'm telling you, Tom, that was one hell of an introduction. I hope I can meet that guy before I get out of here tonight. I want to congratulate all the other candidates. I think this is a great honor, very great honor, and I never expected to get it. Right now, I'm going through some serious problems. I can't see. I've had one cataract operation and not the other, and it's been a mess, so I can't see. I'm blind, okay, and I am very emotional. When I get emotional, I cry. Oh, I left my towel home. So my kids are already taking a bet. He's going to break down what minute goes by. I don't know who's going to win the bet. But I do want to just make a couple of comments. I had a 24-page speech, but my wife cut it down, and I don't think there's anything left, okay? I really think you should take a look at the program booklet because it gives a very good article on everybody's bibliography. But I want to pick up at one part of it. It says, when I started coaching cross country. When I came back, I got married, came back to Bristol to teach, and I began teaching at Bristol Central High School, which now is the Boulevard School. There was a vacancy in the cross-country coaching position. Scotty Carter recommended me for the job. Thomas Monahan said, well, I don't know, he's awfully young, and Scotty said, look, give the guy a chance. He'll do a good job. Well, I took the job, and boy, I'll tell you, it was no picnic, okay? Our school had a population of about 900 kids. We had to compete against Eastern High, which was 2,000 kids. Manchester High, which was 2,500 kids. Almost all of the schools in the CCIL were much larger than we were. It was a very difficult start, to say the least, okay? Transportation. Do you think they wanted to pay for a bus to take kids to Page Park? That's where our racetrack was. Page Park, that's where Easterns was. We had to go there and run our home races. But how did we get there? We had to have parents come. If parents didn't come, the kids either had to walk or jog there, and then they had to get to run. I mean, that's asking an awful lot for the kids, to say the least. And the team was very small. Nobody, you take a look out your window today, you see people running all the day. Men, women, children. They have road races every week. You never saw that. It was so difficult to recruit kids that I saw one kid coming by on a bicycle, and he was running around the track, and I says, hey, do you like to go fast? And this kid says, yeah. I said, you can pedal on the bike? Yeah. I said, you know what? You could probably run fast, too. I said, how about coming out for cross country? The kid was only in 8th grade, so he wasn't eligible then. But the next year, he came to Bristol Central High School. His name is Stephen Cook. Stephen Cook was a master rider. He likes speed now, but I understand it's with boats, so be very careful about that. You know, we really tried, but the football team had a bad season. They went 0 for 9, I think. My cross-country team went 0 for 9, but we had one meet left. And this team showed up on a Saturday morning. We went down to Page Park, and we ran the race. And it ended in a tie. Now, this team was much better than we were. They expected that we were just going to roll over and play dead. And when they ended up in the tie, they went to their coach and said, Coach, let's run them again. We can beat them. I went to our captain, Dan Casey, I think it was Dan Casey and Dick Snyder, and they said, Coach, we tied them fair and square. We're not going to run again. Well, Tom Monahan recognized that recruiting was a serious problem for soccer, for football, for cross country, and we had an assembly in the school. Now, this is a large crowd, but Central High, they had the auditorium. They had about 900 kids down there. And he went around, he was talking to George Redmond about, what he could do, and he came to me, he asked one question, he says, well, you know, Bernie, how would you go about training someone that really never did any running? And I says, well, I thought of Bob Callett tonight. I use the Netflix. No, I'm sorry, it's not Netflix. It's the fartlek travel. Fartlek method of training. Imagine how that went over with 900 kids in an auditorium. Mr. Money says, what was that? And I started to say it again. He says, no, that's okay. I think he fell through the chair he was sitting on. But the fartlek method of training was a means by which, it was a Swedish word, and it was a way in which they broke up training for, marathon runners, okay? So between 64 and 66, we improved on some of our techniques. We developed some training, but we were getting wiped out all over the place. But in 66, and I'm not going to go in, we started out the season, we won 3 or 4 meets, and we became very psychic about it. I wore the same sport coat, same slacks, same shirt. My wife took care of getting them clean for every meet. We were undefeated till the last week of the season, and in that we had to meet the 3 top teams. We had Maloney, Hall, and we had Bristol Eastern. To make a long story short, I don't know how we did it. Maloney thought they were going to trim us. They didn't. And Hall, they thought they had us, but we won both of them. The big match came. We had never beaten Eastern. 2,000 kids against 900. We got there, and I'll tell you, we beat them. And they had some good runners. They had Scott Carter, Dan Bergeron, but we had an equal to it, I'm telling you. So we won the first CCIL title for any sport, not just cross country, in the history of Bristol Central High School. We were the only team that won a championship down at that building. Well, we got into a period where things were very great for cross country in the city of Bristol. In the span of between 66 and 769, the CCIL title was decided by a battle between Central High and Eastern. We won in 66, 67, Eastern's great team under Johnny Floyd beat us by 1 point, and of course they went on and won the state championship. We didn't get a chance to compete in the state championship because we were a very small school and we had to compete against the big guys. Then 67, we were tied. We went down and we beat Eastern. I'm not sorry. 67 they beat us. 68 we beat them, and in 69 we were tied with Maloney, or Maloney and ours was the last date of competition. Maloney was undefeated. We were undefeated, okay? I made probably one of my greatest speeches, all right? I told the kids on the board, I showed them the times, I said, hey, they're a better team than we are. Their times are better than us, but we've got the hill. They don't. And I said, they also don't have heart. I'll tell you, we went out, we didn't beat them, but we didn't lose, and we became co-champions. So in a span of 4 years, we had a tremendous model of competition, but tremendous amount of success for cross country. I don't think you can say much more about that. Yeah, well, I gotta look. I'll tell you, my wife and Paula were so sincere about this. Take care of it. I had more fun tonight just seeing people, meeting people, and just talking to people again. Kids that I didn't see in 50 years. This happened in 1966. As a matter of fact, it happened in 1966 in October. It's 50 years ago these guys were running, okay? And the only thing I'm going to ask, I got a lot of stories about what they did, but I'm not going to go into them. I'd just like to have the guys that ran in that time period, just stand up and get a round of applause, because they never gained any other recognition. Because of a job change, I unfortunately gave up coaching cross country, and even today, I sneak a picture up at going up to Central High and just sit in the car and watch the kids practice. Great news. They've got a girls team, they've got a boys team. They've got now runners coming up from the 7th and 8th grade, because they're offering it at the middle schools now. I see nothing but good things. They got good coaching now. They got talent coming up through the ranks, and I see nothing but a very bright future for cross country, and I'm very proud to think that we had some little bit to start with it. I think the only other people I've got to thank are my family. Yeah, you think I don't know who they are, huh? Yeah. I'm not so sure that I do know who they are. You have to make fun out of some things, and we tried to do it with different types of practice. One of my favorite techniques was I'd let the younger kids run a certain distance first. If we're running on half miles, repetition half miles, give the younger kids a little head start. Theoretically, the better guys come on the last. So if this works, everybody ends at about the same time. And we did this quite frequently, because Central High was not a place to practice. The boulevard, the football team was there, the soccer team was there. Who wants to go around the track 20 times in the course of a day? Who wanted to drive up to Willis Street, not Willis Street, but Willis Street and Seymour Street, okay? You want to run up that 25 times a day? No. Okay, so one of the things that we did, we ran in repetition ground on the boulevard, okay? Saturday morning, that was the day we had a light practice. But Saturday morning, I had a dog. And this dog, I swear, she was a smart dog. Monday through Friday, she would be wrecked out when I went to work. But Saturday morning, she knew when it was Saturday morning. As soon as I got up and got dressed, she would be at the door. And she wanted to go with me. And I brought her. And every time she got there, the kids would say, "Oh, God, we're going to be beaten by a dog again." But I really think it helped them, because I'll tell you, they tried real bad to defeat that dog. This was, I think, when we look back on it, and I got many memories that came up today, this was a great time of my life. It was very short, but I'll tell you, I treasure it very much. When the people that have come here today, it's really just a miracle to see them, to remember them. To my family, they're all over there. My wife, she's a gem. She's put up with me for how long, Gene? 56 years. I mean, look, I'll tell you, that's a long sentence. She's raised a family with 3 good kids, Shelley, Paula, and Brian. She tells me I was never home anyway, so she's very understanding, and I let her get away with that. And my grandchildren are also here. I've got Jacob, who belongs to Shelley and Danny, and I've got Emma and Colin that belong to Paula. But I'll tell you, life goes by very fast. Very, very fast. And I'll tell you, you've got to take time to remember the past, because it is so significant. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't say enough that this honor that I'm accepting, it's not just for me. I think it's for every coach that coached at that other school, and they had to work under such terrible conditions because of our enrollment. You know, my team didn't even have uniforms. They got a shirt that came and it said a B on it. What does B stand for? Bristol High, yeah, but we're not Bristol High. And I'm telling you, it's just a wonderful thing that the Sports Hall of Fame has the programs it does today. And believe me, I'm extremely honored to be inducted, and I owe it to those guys that did that running, and I appreciate the fact that they're here tonight. I'd like to have them stand, and then I'm going to say, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for listening to me.